Well, welcome. This is the Market Wrap. I am Agam Vakil. Well, today we've seen weakness on the indices, and it's not turning out to be the best of weeks when it comes to trade. Today we saw the benchmarks come off by 2%, and the Nifty has lost out on the 10,000 mark. In fact, it's closed around 9,900, and at one point in time, it did go below that mark too. We have no more than six gainers on the Nifty 50, with the likes of perhaps Hero MotoCorp and IndusInd Bank advancing. But if you leave that aside, we don't have too much to see in terms of gainers, which means that Bharti Infratel, Z Entertainment, State Bank of India, Sun Pharma, Tata Motors, Maruti Suzuki, and a whole host of other auto companies weighed down on the indices. There was selling all around as far as the benchmarks are concerned. Let me address the broader markets too. And the advanced decline ratio isn't exactly encouraging considering we have one gain of four losers on the NSE 500. While we did have some gains in your relatively smaller names like Vakrangi, Praj Industries, National Fertilizers, and PVR, all of them advancing by around 5.5%. Severe weakness in Vodafone Idea. Of course, to a certain extent, it can be attributed to the Supreme Court and the ongoings there. We have Infratel also for perhaps the same reason, which is down 9.5%. We have Captain Point Laboratories, Engineers India, KRBL, Avas Financials, all under quite a bit of pressure. And today was a day where the momentum was with those which are losing out. On that note, let me get in our markets editor, Niraj Shah, for his thoughts on how things have panned out today. Niraj, good afternoon.
Agam, good afternoon. You summed it up perfectly well. Not much more to add. A day of weakness. I think the Dow futures gave a bit of a view as well. By the way, I decided to take my jacket off because people have lost their shirts today in the long positions, to be honest. But yeah, the Dow futures gave the clues, right? When we shut shop, the Dow futures are down about 2.5%. So it's after a while that we've had such a large weakness while we were shutting shop. The Dow has been off now for the last 2 days, but in today's session was down about 2.5, and therefore that's that one big issue that we have at our hand. It's not that the Asian screen closed positively, right? Nikkei was about 2.5% or 3% lower as well. So it has looked weak for the world markets at large. Remember, the world markets are trading at a fairly elevated clip too, and if indeed those markets come off, then we have issues at our hand. And frankly, I think our movement, the global market movement, could well be the determinant of what happens to our markets in the near term, as much as we would like to believe that lockdown opening up is a positive for Indian markets. I think stocks without fundamental news flow and which had gained a bit because the rising tide was carrying all boats along with it would well be under question, and some from the NBFC space, a clutch of other names which have just gone up because there were rumors, because there were news flows floating around. India Bulls, etc. All of that might all come off. I dare say, Agam, the other big talking point could be Reliance, right? Because tomorrow, the rights issue amounts get credited, the numbers get credited as well. And the allotment has now happened. Could there be some bit of selling out there? That's the other question. And most people would want to stay long on Reliance, but you never know. Technical factors could come at play as well. So a few things that should keep people abreast of what's happening. And frankly, Agam, you pointed it out. The telcos have been lackluster today. Infratel, Airtel coming off, but Vodafone Idea, such a deep cash that happened there, about 13-14%. And that was symptomatic of what was happening at the broader of the spectrum. Wherever some profits were being made, I think, and news flow was not necessarily positive, people just took money off the table.
Yeah, Neeraj, yesterday I was pointing out the fact that the 10,000 put was the one with the maximum open interest. Today was, their weekly expiry. That got taken out. And by 100 points, that means there's a lot of people out there who made substantial amount of losses too, and which means that the market's still very, very volatile. And of course, there's a lot of uncertainty. Also, a lot of people got this call wrong, considering there was so much accumulation in open interest. So, if I look at the further out picture, that is the last week of June's expiry, I'm looking at a very, very broad range. So on the lower end, while it is somewhere around 9,500, on the higher end, it is around 10,500. It's still a 1,000-point range, and no one can really pinpoint as to where things will eventually lead to. But for now, there certainly is a lot of volatility, and that's something that traders is going to have to brace for.
Yeah, my last point out here would be that I think we've said it now for the number of times, or both on Market Wrap on the trade setup, that trying to predict declines because of the elevated nature of the market. And I'm not saying, therefore, that tomorrow the markets will continue to go down further. I don't know if Agam has a thought there, but I certainly don't. But the point is largely this, that while it's impossible to predict the interest, it's pertinent to take into account what the risk reward is. And for now, it's certainly not in favor of large scale buying. We've seen some of that behavior starting to come in conversations with market experts as well. Let's wait and watch if this is the start of a move that could go lower, and maybe, just maybe, I dare say, the global markets could well play a large part here. Agam, today a clutch of these stocks, like I said, which had gone up without reason, have all come off, right? India Bulls Housing, Century Textiles, etc. Everything is falling like a pack of cards today.
Oh yeah, the NBFC space specifically, and perhaps a handful of banks if you leave out in IndusInd Bank, which has seen a lot of short build up. But Neeraj, on that note, I'm going to take a moment to thank you for your perspective there on
Thanks,
the
Agam.
market. And on that note, it's also a wrap on the markets, but there's lots more lined up. Stay tuned to BloombergQuint, and we'll keep getting you more.